but we can actually showcase what we have actually been doing, and that will really help us amass climate finance. So again, ladies and gentlemen, as we look on the screen, this is just to remind us of the place that we all call home, our planet. Looking at it, we can't really tell which continent is upstream, which continent is downstream, regardless of the status, whether they are the affluent or the developing. But all of us are here, depending on this place that we all call Mother Nature. So we have a responsibility to take care of our planet, the essence of thinking globally, even as we act locally. Ladies and gentlemen, as we continue, this is just the ideal situation. Yes, the climate change phenomenon is a difficult thing, but ideally, the planet, the way it was created, it was supposed to be self-regenerative. But actually, if you look back, we used to live in some ice age, long time ago, where the temperatures were actually too cold for human survival. Then we went to the Holocene. Now we can actually enjoy the warmth. But now the challenge is that we are going forward to the Anthropocene, where our climate, or where our human actions have got substantial effect on how the planet is usually supposed to work. So that's why we are actually experiencing the extreme temperatures. And that's why we have what we call the planetary boundaries. You've heard of the Earth overshoot. Let me remind you that since July 25th to date, we are actually operating on ecological deficit. We have already exhausted the resources that we were supposed to use for this ecological year. Why? Because we have exceeded the ecological ceiling. So we are supposed to use resources. Remember the essence of sustainable development. We have development that meets the needs of the present generation without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. But what we are experiencing is the Earth overshoot. So the Earth overshoot in 2023 came in 2nd of August, 2024 came on 1st of August, but now it even came earlier on 24th of July. So meaning that since then to the end of this year, we are actually on ecological deficits. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, we really need to rethink our actions. If you look at there's some thin blue line that we can see there, right? That's actually all the oxygen that we have remaining on our planet. And the layer is so thin that if you were to walk straight up, it will take us just only an hour. Unfortunately, in that thin blue layer is where we are spewing 175 million tons of man-made global warming every day. So ladies and gentlemen, we have a reason for us to rethink our actions. How are we doing that? Is because of our unsustainable actions. If you look at our agricultural practices, if you look at the rate of our industrialization, that's why we also need to rethink going green. And again, yeah, it has refused. Yes, but ladies and gentlemen, so the imperative for us to rethink our actions, change the way in which we do things, decouple growth from emissions, and actually try and go green. So the reason why we are here, this has actually really stopped, but it's okay. Now, if you remember the Paris Agreement and what we have actually ratified as a country, we are supposed to keep the global temperature rise to below 2 degrees Celsius and within 1.5 above pre-industrial times. But if the status quo remains, ladies and gentlemen, and thanks to research we know that by the time we get to 2050, we will be at 5.7. Actually, according to the 6th IPCC report, is that the temperature will be beyond 5.7 degrees Celsius. And actually, we will be heading towards the uninhabitable zones. According to research, is that a time will come when we'll not be able to stand outside for more than 3 hours without people dying, thanks to this climate change thing. So actually, we again need to rethink our actions and actually go green. So the reason why we are having this summit is for us to rethink our actions, is for us to look at what we have been doing. There are a lot of things that we have done, even in terms of the environmental jurisprudence. We are not badly off, because the country is actually, our constitution is hailed as a green constitution. If you look at the entire chapter 5, is on land and environment, right? So we actually do have a lot of jurisprudence with regards to environment and climate change. If you look at the Climate Change Act of 2016, if you look at our ambitious nationally determined contributions, ladies and gentlemen, where we want to reduce the greenhouse gas emissions to 32% by 2030 and 35% by 2035. So all that we have in place. But what is the challenge? The challenge could be our silos approach of working. Sometimes we do not understand what County A is doing. Sometimes we could have efforts that we could conjoin and work together, or co-create and work together. So that is why we are actually here, to bring together coordination, to enhance our coordination amongst all the players that we have towards a whole of society approach, a whole of government approach. And I believe that is why we are here. And also another key thing that we needed to reflect on is the Nairobi Rivers Regeneration Project, which is also just one among the many other development initiatives that we have as a country. Of course, we have a lot in terms of the green transitions. We have a lot of projects ongoing, but the Nairobi Rivers Regeneration Project, we just took that as an example because it has got multiple benefits. If you look at the human-centered benefits that are there, the green jobs that have been created, the affordable housing units, yes, and the waste to energy plants that are there. So all that is actually multiple benefits. So that is why we are actually also here to appreciate what we have been doing so far. So ladies and gentlemen, by the time we are done with the summit, we are also going to have a climate implementation charter, where we are also going to have a way in which we will have coordinated system of understanding what each entity is doing, and especially with regards to the national and the county governments, and also other private sectors. What exactly are we doing in terms of climate action? So that should actually be there and to help us forge a way forward. So we are going to have an implementation matrix which we are going to help in tracking our actions after this summit. So ladies and gentlemen, again, this is to warmly invite you to cooperate, to air your views, to openly discuss. Go into this summit with an open mind. Be there to share, because we have a lot of innovations within the room. We can actually tap from each other's strengths. We have various organizations, various youths who are also having their own innovations and also organizations geared towards climate action. So this is a platform for us to discuss, to exchange ideas, to learn from each other, and so on and so forth. So in the interest of time, may I kindly invite Mr. Hudson, or Mr. Quests again.